Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Thank you very much once again, Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, for kindly hosting today's session on Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam. Today is the 50th session of this series, and I'm so thankful to all the devotees who have kindly joined me in this attempt to study Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam. And even those devotees who have listened to the recordings, I'm very thankful to each and every one of you for kindly being a part of the journey. There are still some devotees who are sending me their recordings of Śrī-Upadeśāmṛtam. They are reciting, they are memorizing and reciting Śrī-Upadeśāmṛtam, and they are sending me the recordings. So once they allow me, I'll share their recording on the WhatsApp group. Dear devotees, for those who are viewing the recording, but who wish to be a part of the WhatsApp group, there is a very simple way of joining the WhatsApp group. All you have to do is send an email to this email address, upadeshamritam@gmail.com. Please note the spelling, UPADESAMRTAM @gmail.com, and send your WhatsApp number on this email address, and we'll make sure that you are in the WhatsApp group. There are a lot of discussions which take place on the WhatsApp group besides the ones which are taking place here after the talk. There are a lot of discussions which take place on that group. The devotees who wish to be a part of that group and who do not have any access to that WhatsApp group, you can send an email and then we'll make sure that you are added to the group. Thank you very much once again. Let's begin the 50th session of Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamritam. I'm sharing my screen, dear devotees. Now you will be able to see it. Dear devotees, we are studying in great detail because that is how effective study is done. We should not leave any stone unturned in understanding each and every term of the text of Sri Rupa Goswami. Even half a syllable is important for us in pursuit of the understanding of the mood of Sri Rupa Goswami. Therefore, we are studying the Upadeshamritam in great detail. Before we begin, I'd like to ensure auspiciousness, Shanti, for those who are hearing as well as for myself who is speaking. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sahana Bhavatu. May Bhagawan protect both of us, teacher as well as student. Sahanau Bhunaktu. May he bestow the highest fruit of this study upon both of us. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. May both of us attain the strength to realize the highest truth. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. May our study shine forth brilliantly. Ma Vidvishavahai. May we never envy each other. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May peace pervade the three worlds. Dear devotees, it's also important to glorify Sri Rupa Goswami again and again, because we cannot thank him enough for whatever he has given to us. In the previous talk, I had asked a question during the Q&A. Can we imagine taking birth in a world where Sri Rupa Goswami has not appeared? Dear devotees, it will be impossible for us to imagine such a universe where Sri Rupa Goswami has not appeared and where we have to do all the hard work that he has done for the sake of our devotional service. Therefore, dear devotees, we should again and again glorify Sri Rupa Goswami. Here is a verse of glorification for him. Shri Gaur Chitta Gambhiryam Veti Shri Rupa Evahi Shri Rupa Chitta Gambhiryam Veti Shri Gaur Evahi. Only Sri Rupa Goswami knows the depths of the heart of Sri Gauranga. And only Sri Gauranga knows the depths of the heart of Sri Rupa Goswami. Dear devotees, we are studying the ninth instruction. Vaikuntha Janito Vara Madhuri Tatrapi Rasotsava Vrindaranya Mudar Pani Ramana Tatrapi Govardhana Radha Kunda Mihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavana Kuryadasya Virajato Giritate Sevam Viveki Naka. And here is the translation. Now, in the translation, we are focusing upon one particular section. And which section is that? Even in Mathura Mandal, Vrindavan is superior due to the occurrence of the Rasa Lila festival. And in the previous talk, I tried to describe the various types of Rasa Lilas that have occurred and that are occurring in Sri Vrindavan. And there were 4 main types that were listed. We also saw the definition of the term Rasa as given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and various other acharyas. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had summarized all of them in 2 paragraphs. So we saw all of those definitions last time. Plus, then we saw what were the conditions that led to the Sharadiya Ras, the Ras during the autumn season. And this was from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagawan Sri Krishna made up his mind, or let's say he created a new mind of his own in order to enjoy the pastimes of the Rasa Lila. And then he played upon the flute, and after playing upon the flute, the gopis arrived. And when the gopis arrived, Bhagavan, in a crooked manner, asked them to go back. When that happened, the commentators are unable to tolerate Bhagavan's so-called cruelty towards the gopis. And the gopis also gave a lot of arguments. Bhagavan then accepts the proposal of the gopis. And then we saw that the Rasa Lila began. And this was one of the final verses that we saw. Kesha mukta guno mukto nadhutam suratotsave chitram mukta punar mukta mukta sumanaso picha. This was a verse by Sri Hari Suri, and the meaning of the surface seems simple. Kesha mukta. The kesha means hair, of the gopis were liberated. Mukta. Guno mukta. Guno mukto means the gunas, the strings of their clothes were all liberated. Na adbhutam. Nothing surprising about it. Suratotsave, in this great Rasa Lila festival, nothing surprising. But Chitram, what is surprising is Mukta punar mukta. Even the muktas got mukta. Even the pearls got liberated. Mukta sumanaso picha, and even the sumanasas, the flowers, got liberated. Dear devotees, the muktas, the pearls in the ornaments are usually tightly strung. Therefore, for the pearls to also fall out, and the flowers are usually bound on the hair, for the flowers to also fall out is surprising. But this is not the only meaning of the text. There is a hidden meaning, dear devotees, which I tried to reveal last time. Kesha mukta. Kesha. The term Ka refers to Brahma. And Ka is Isha. Brahma is the Lord of whom? Of all the gods. So Ka Isha, Kesha. All the gods headed by Brahma. Mukta, they got liberated. And seeing Guno Mukto. Even the gunas, the modes of material nature felt liberated. Nadbhutam, nothing surprising about it. Suratotsave, Chitram Mukta Punar Mukta. What surprises it? Even the Mukta, those who were considering themselves as liberated, they also felt really liberated. Mukta Sumanaso Picha. And even the Sumanasas, beautiful minded devotees, beautiful manasas, minded, even the beautiful minded devotees, they got liberated by hearing these pastimes. Dear devotees, these pastimes belong to us. They are our inheritance and we should claim them. After we get proper adhikar, these pastimes belong to us. They should not be studied by somebody who has no adhikar, somebody who's merely studying these pastimes in order to get a university degree, not for the sake of relishing like a rasika. Dear devotees, therefore Sri Jiva Goswami says, whatever went on in these pastimes, dear devotees, we worship all of that lust, anger, greed, etc. that occurred in these pastimes. Srila Jiva Goswami composes a verse in his commentary to Srila Rupa Goswami's Dan Keli Kaumudi. This is Sri Jiva Goswami's verse. Very nice verse. Dan Keli Kalau Lupta Dharma Maryadayor Bhaje Radha Madhava Yukama Lobha Dambha Madandritam. Sri Jiva Goswami says, Bhaje, I worship. What do you worship? Kama, Lobha, Dambha, Mada, Andrita. I worship the lust, the greed, the deceit, the pride and the falsities of whom Radha Madhavayo, of Radha and Madhav. Who are they? Lupta Dharma Maryadayor, who have lost all sense of worldly religiosity while displaying their loving quarrel in the pastime such as Dana Keli Kala, Dana Lila and other Leelas of love. I worship their lust, their anger, their greed. So dear devotees, from staying away from lust, anger and greed of the material world, we have now come to worship the lust, anger and greed of Bhagavan's pastimes with the gopis. This, dear devotees, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method of worshipping. Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita, says Shri Srinath Chakravarti. Our upasana, our worship, is that which was conceived of by the gopis of Shri Vrindavan. We worship that, dear devotees. We keep this on our head. If we are not yet qualified for this, we still touch it to our heads very respectfully and we aspire for it. We will never stay permanently away from it. Yes, only those devotees who are belonging to other rasas such as Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakhya, they may not touch these pastimes, but they will also touch the pastimes of the residents of Shri Vrindavan, other pastimes. And in those pastimes also there will be some anger, some greed, some falsities. We worship all of that, dear devotees. But in Rasa Lila, there is also this transcendental lust, and we worship that, dear devotees. This is Sri Jiva Goswami's wonderful verse regarding the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. So there is nothing being ashamed of, because since the Britishers came to India, there was a Victorian sense of shame that was cultivated in the minds of many individuals, that these pastimes are immoral. And since that time, many individuals feel some sort of a guilt or shame, saying that Bhagavan Sri Krishna enjoyed with many women. But this question was also in the mind of Parikshit Maharaj during the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Shukdev Goswami answered that question. We'll also go through that today. But let's continue from where we left off. So the Rasa Lila began, dear devotees, and this was the highest point of union between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and the gopis of Sri Vrindavan, including Srimati Radharani, who was the crest jewel of all the gopis in the Rasotsav. But dear devotees, this is Milan, union. And after Milan or union, there has to be separation. And this separation occurred on a particular pretext. What was the pretext? This is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tāsam tatsau bhagavadam vikshamanam cha keshavaha prashamaya prasadaya tatraivantar-hita. Tāsam tatsau bhagamadam vikshamanam cha. Vikshamanam cha. The gopis had become proud for having received such special attention, so Bhagamadam, from Krishna. And each of them thought herself to be the best women on earth. Krishna, seeing the gopis too proud, Viksha, he wanted to relieve Prashamaya and Prasadaya and show them further mercy. The English translation says mercy, but Prasada, he wanted to please them more. That is the actual meaning. He is not dealing with sadhakas here to show mercy. He is dealing with his eternal gopis. So prasadaya, in order to please them more. Tatraiva antar-hita. Thus, as soon as they were feeling that they are special, Bhagavan immediately antar-hita. Krishna became antar-hita. Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, what is the meaning of antar-hita?
Internal benefit?
Okay, but it's given here.
He disappeared.
Right. Krishna became antar-hita. The devotees, Krishna, the original term says Antardhiyata. Antardhiyata, basically, it means that he disappeared from the pastimes with the gopis. And the basic meaning is he became Antar-hita, or he disappeared. Sri Hari Suri at this point of time plays on this term and composes a very sweet verse in the meter Vasanta Tilakam. Nana vilasa parirambhana chumbanadhyaya Asam bahirhitamakari yatha tathaiva antar-hitam bata vidheyamidhi prakamam antar-hitottaragamanam aveksha sobhu. Nana vilasa. Krishna is thinking Nana vilasa through various types of love sports. Parirambhana through embracing. Chumbanadhyaya, kissing, etc. Asam bahirhitamakari. I have bestowed upon these gopis bahirhita, external benefit. But benefit is not complete unless and until it is not only external but also internal. Therefore, now I also wish to bestow upon them sufficient antar-hita. Another meaning of antar-hita, as Prabhuji clearly said, is internal benefit upon them. Thinking in this way and seeing the pride of the gopis, our Bhagavan gave antar-hita, internal benefit, by becoming antar-hita, or by disappearing from their vision. A very sweet verse in which he played upon the term antar-hita. And Sri Hari Suri says, dear devotees, there's a very important thing to understand here at this point of time. For all of us sadhakas, Sri Krishna has disappeared from the Rasa Lila. And please understand, he composes a verse in the meter Shardula Vikriditam. And this is an important lesson for all the sadhakas. Nito me vashatam prabhur nijagunai snehardra-hardashaye evam vishvasitena jatu chidapi stheyam yapum sanjasa maya ratri viharinatra niraham karena kintvantare ध्येयोत्सव नहीं चेत परस्य तु कथा का गोपिकानां pura. Sri Hari Suri says, sadhaka should never think, what? Nito me vashatam prabhu. Now I have controlled Krishna through my good qualities. Nija gunai. Never think. Snehardahardashayer. Through my loving heart. No. Evam vishvasitena jatu chidapi. With this faith. Stheyam napum sanjasa. Never let your guard down, dear sadhakas. Don't stay comfortably. Even if you have attained a vision of Bhagawan once, like the gopis had attained. Why? Maya Ratri Viharina. The gopis were wandering in the night of Gokul, in the night of Sri Vrindavan. But we sadhakas are wandering in the night of Maya. And it is very important. The gopis were wandering in the forest of Vrindavan, but we are wandering in the forest of the material world. Therefore, Nirahankarena kim tvantare dhyeya. So, therefore, the sadhaka should perform his smaran by giving up all pride. Nahi chet parasya tu katha ka. If a single trace of pride can make Krishna disappear from the vision of the gopis, then what to speak of the ordinary sadhakas of the world? Dear devotees, do not have any pride, no matter how great of an uttamathikari we may have become while practicing our sadhana. It's a very important lesson that should be learned from the pastime of Krishna disappearing from the Rasa Lila. Now, as I said, this separation is a most essential part of Shri Krishna Lila. In fact, if separation would not exist, this Krishna Lila would not become tasteful at all. Sri Rupa Goswami is a perfect follower of Bharat Muni, who wrote Natya Shastra. In fact, Bharat Muni is the ideal dramaturgist of Srila Rupa Goswami. It is Sri Rupa Goswami who told us this wonderful principle that he had gotten from Bharat Muni. Navina vipralambhena sambhogah pushtimashnute kashaite vastrado puyan rago vivardhate. Navina vipralambhena, without separation, sambhogah pushtimashnute, union does not attain nourishment. Then Rupa Goswami gives an example, an analogy. Kashaitehi vastra adau bhuyan rago vivardhate. Only when proper modern dyes are applied to cloth does the color on the cloth become extremely brilliant. This is an analogy from the ancient times where, in order to color a cloth, if you directly apply the color on the cloth, the color will come out good. But as soon as you wash the cloth, most of the color will be washed away. You can see the cloth on the right. The dye, mordant dye, has not been applied on it. But the cloth on the left is one on which the harsh chemical, the mordant dye, was first applied, and then the color was applied. So this chemical is able, although it is very harsh, it is able to increase the richness of the color of the cloth. This is also the case with separation and union. Separation is most essential for us, dear devotees, in order to relish union, even in the material world. What to speak of the spiritual world? So, the spectrum of Madhurya Ras consists of all varieties of union and all varieties of separation. The highest point of union, Rasa Lila, and in the Rasa Lila there is what I described last time in the question and answer, Samprayog, the highest point of union. Highest point of separation is Mrityu. No, almost death. Both these are the extremes of union and separation. But in between them, all the shades of union and separation are present. But separation is essential in order to make union appear very tasteful. This is the Siddhanta of Bharat Muni that Sri Rupa Goswami presented as it is in the Ujjvala Nilamanih. This is the reason why Sri Krishna is enacting the pastime of disappearing. He is not a policeman who wants to police the gopis that now you became little proud, so now I will disappear and I will show you who I am. This is not the intention of Sri Krishna disappearing from the pastime. The intention of Sri Krishna is to introduce a specific type of separation, which is called Prema Vaichitya. Prema Vaichitya is when Sri Krishna is present, but appears to be absent. Sri Krishna has not gone anywhere far away. He is there itself. But he is not appearing in front of the eyes of the gopis. This is called Prema Vaichitya. In Prema Vaichitya, Sri Krishna is present, but he appears to be absent. This is what is going on here. As soon as this happened, Sri Shukadeva Goswami said something. Prabhuji, can you kindly read?
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Krishna disappeared so suddenly, the gopis felt great sorrow at losing sight of him, like a group of female elephants who have lost their mate.
Yes. So as soon as Bhagavan Krishna disappeared, all the gopis felt immense sorrow, like a group of female elephants who have lost their mate. Between elephants, there's a lot of sporting that takes place between the male and female, and there's a lot of joy, dear devotees. But as soon as the male elephant disappears for some reason, there is immense sorrow, and this sorrow is used as an object of comparison here. The gopis started going to various trees. There are so many trees listed in the Bhagavatam. We will take a few trees, dear devotees. The first tree that they went to is Ashwatha. Ashwatha is also known as the religious fig tree or the people tree. Dear devotees, Sri Hari Suri wrote a realization on almost all the trees that they went to. The first tree is Ashwatha or the religious fig tree. And what was the mood of the gopis when they approached the Ashwatha tree? He composes a verse in the beautiful meter, Bhujanga Prayatam. This meter is the same meter as Damodarashtakam. It is known as Bhujanga Prayatam because Bhujanga means snake. This meter, it takes the flow of a snake. You might have heard Damodarashtakam, it's the same meter. The snake, it takes Namamishwaram Satchit Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So this is Bhujanga Prayata. It takes the movement of a snake's hand. So this meter, Sri Hari Suri used in the verse he composed. Yadashvat vrikshesha samsara rupam nitantam bhavantam mahando vadanti tadasman swadam hipradeshavalamba sakrit darshayeshasya samsara rupam. The gopis are saying to the Ashwatha tree, the people tree, Yadashwatha, O Ashwatha, Vrikshesha, you are the Lord of the trees. Samsara Rupam, you are renowned in the Shastra as what? Samsara Rupam, as the personification of the material world. Because the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Urdhva Moolam Adho Shakha, Ashwatham Prahuravyayam, Chandansi Yasya Parnani, Yastam Veda Savedavit. In Bhagavad Gita, he says this. So Ashwatha or the people tree is considered as Samsara Rupa, the personification of the material world. Bhavantam Mahanto Vadanti, thus you are greatly revered. People say you are one of the greatest trees, therefore we have first approached you. Tadasman Swadam Hri Pradeshavalamba, we have come near your feet. Feet means the roots of the tree. You've taken shelter of your feet. Sakritarshayeshasya samsara rupam. Sakrit, please for once show us samsara rupa. Sam means complete, most essential. And Sara Rupa means most beautiful form in this world. And which is the most essential and most beautiful form in this world, dear devotees. And that Samsara Rupam, the most essential, beautiful form in this world is, dear devotees, of Sri Krishna. O Ashwatha, you are Samsara Rupa. Therefore, please show us Samsara Rupa. Show us the most essential, beautiful form that exists in the entire creation. Then they also approached another tree. I'm giving another example, dear devotees. They approached another tree known as Kuravaka. Sometimes it is called Kuravaka. The Va and Ba are interchangeable. Kuravaka. Kuravaka is the red amaranth tree. And it's actually a shrub, basically. So this is Kuravaka. And then they prayed to the Kuravaka to tell them where Krishna has gone. At this point of time, Sri Hari Suri composes a verse expressing what their mind was saying. This verse is in the meter Dhruta Vilambitam. Kuravako yamiti druma kirtitasvamanaya bhidaya trapase yadi kathaya Krishna padam bhavato bhidham suravako yamiti prathayamahe. This is one way of singing it. Another way of singing it is Kuravako yamiti druma kirtitas Vamanayam vidhayam trapaseyadi kathaya Krishna padam bhavato bhidham suravakuyamiti prathayamahe. These are two ways of singing. Dhruta Vilambitam, the meter in which this verse was composed. So the gopis are saying, oh Kuravaka, I showed you which tree Kuravaka is. Please once again see, this is the red amaranth tree. Or it is actually a shrub. The red amaranth shrub, they went to it and asked. Actually, in their madness, they are not able to understand what should be said, what should not be said. In their divine madness, they are asking the trees and shrubs. So what is the mood of the gopis? Kuravako, your name is Kuravaka. If you feel unhappy because people call you Ravaka, Rava means sound and Ku means ill. Today you might be feeling you are named incorrectly. Oh, Ravaka, ill sounding one. Don't worry. Kathaya Krishna Padam. Just tell us where Krishna is located. And we will make sure that we will propagate your new name and glories as Suravaka, the wonderful sounding one who told us about Sri Krishna. We promise you. Just tell us once where Sri Krishna has gone. Dear devotees, in this way, they went to so many trees, the mango tree, the tulsi, so many trees they went to. They also went to that durva grass and they asked. The blades of grass they were asking. In this way, they went to many trees, shrubs, herbs, and asked about Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna did not come in front of them. Suddenly, dear devotees, they noticed that there was a special gopi who was crying all alone. And it seemed that Sri Krishna had gone deep in the forest with this gopi alone. And this gopi also might have felt a lot of pride. And therefore, Krishna must have left her alone too. They came to this conclusion. This gopi, they found crying deep within the forest. And Sri Rupa Goswami speaks what the gopi said about this particular gopi. Anaya radhito nunam Bhagawan Haririshwarah yanno vihaya govindah prito yamanayadraha. Anaya aradhito nunam. Certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda. Since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So, Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, what is the name of this gopi?
Srimati Radharani.
Wonderful. But the verse doesn't say that. Neither does the translation say that. The gopi at that point of time was sitting on the ground and looking up in the sky at the moon, and she was crying at this point of time. Dear devotees, the commentator is unable to bear two facts. First, our most beloved gopi is crying in separation of Shri. Second, Shukadeva Goswami doesn't even speak her name. At this point of time, he composes many verses, one of which is as follows. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam. Gurvangareyamiti mama vagatya mohat kimre karai sprishasi chandra nirastalajjam tarana kama mahamachyuta pada sakta saradhiketyalamalam gila sahasena. Gurvanganeya mo Chandra. I am not Guru Angana. In the Bhagavatam, there is a history of Chandra, the moon god. He once inappropriately approached the wife of his guru. Do you remember this history, Dāmeśvara Mahaprabhu? Have you studied this history?
Yeah, in the 9th canto.
Yes. Can you tell us something about whatever you remember about this?
Soma approached
Ah,
the daughter of his guru.
the wife of his guru, Brihaspati, Tara.
Oh, yeah.
And Brihaspati is the guru of all the gods. Chandra is the disciple and the wife of the guru. It is considered to be a major sin to even look lustfully at the wife of the guru. But Chandra, nirastalajjam, shameless, gurvanganeyam. You think I am Guru Angana? You think I am wife of Brihaspati? Hidden meaning. Guru Angana, broad-waisted girl. And therefore you are approaching me because my master is not here. And you're trying to touch me with your kara. Kara is prishasi. One meaning of kara is hands. Another meaning of kara is raise. Nirastalajjam, oh shameless. Beware Tara na kamam. I'm not Tara. One meaning is Brihaspati's wife. Another meaning is I'm not your wife, the stars. Don't try to touch me like your wife because the stars are considered to be the wives of the moon. Tara na kamam, I'm not Tara. Achyuta pada sakta, I'm not the star who is residing in Achyuta. Achyuta means the sky. One meaning of Achyuta is Achyuta pada is sky. I am Achyuta pada sakta. I am attached to Achyuta's feet. Hence I am Sa Radhika. That's Radhika. Who is Sar Adhika, who is very powerful. Chandra, don't try to make that same mistake again. In this way, he was cursing the moon. She was threatening the moon. Do not dare to touch me. Sri Hari Suri, in this verse, brings out two meanings of Sa Radhika. Sa Radhika, Sar Adhika, who has great power. Do not try to touch me, even with your rays, O moon. If you have to touch somebody, touch that person who is hidden. Show us where he is. Him you are hiding, and me you are touching. This is unfair. Don't try to touch me with your rays, O moon. O moon, shameless moon. He composes another verse. Do you know what great people do in their families when some boy becomes of marriageable age? What do great people do? When some boy in their family comes to an age of marriage, they take the kara, the hands of that boy, and place it in the kara of a suitable girl. Chandra, in your lineage also, there is some boy who has become worthy of marriage. Who is that boy? Sri Krishna. But instead of taking his kara, his hands, and placing it in our karas, in our hands, you are using your karas, your rays to hide him today. Oh moon, I curse you. You will have no pratishtha, no reputation in the society. One meaning of pratishtha is reputation. Another meaning of pratishtha is fixed position. So moon does not have any fixed position. It always keeps rotating around the earth. There are many sweet verses like these. So dear devotees, we are also having a different flavor of relishment in separation. Although Srimati Radharani is crying, but in empathizing with her, we are also having a feeling of relishment. This I have explained in one of the question and answers. Sri Sanatana Goswami had said, I'll bring it out in one of the talks in the future. Separation externally, appears to be very painful, but it is very blissful in the spiritual world. And union is also very blissful. And he gives an example. Just like when your hand gets burned by fire, or whether it gets burned by ice, frostbite, the effect is the same. The hand burns. But the causes are completely different. One is caused due to fire, one is caused due to ice. But the effect is the same, burning sensation. Similarly, the causes may be different, union or separation, but the effect is the same, happiness. Try to understand this. This is the analogy that Sri Sanatana Goswami gives in the Bhagavatamrita. So Bhagavan is not a sadistic personality who's putting his associates into trouble and then watching and deriving vicarious pleasure by seeing his associates suffer. These are all various shades of union and separation which are being thoroughly enjoyed not only by Bhagavan, but also by the devotees. I told you last time there are 4 varieties of Rasa Lila, one of which is known as Vasantik Ras, spring season Ras. In this Rasa Lila, instead of Krishna disappearing, Shri Radha disappears from Krishna's vision. And then Krishna has to cry. So Krishna also takes the role of being the victim. And then Krishna also experiences the same emotions that Srimati Radharani is experiencing here. We see Sharadiya Ras, Krishna has disappeared. Vasantik Ras, sometimes Shri Radha disappears. So these are 2 different types of Rasa Leelas. But the commentator brings out the name of the special gopi in his wonderful commentary. Dear devotees, the gopis all got together and they went to the banks of the Yamuna and they sang the Gopi Geet. But even after the Gopi Geet, Krishna did not appear. Finally, seeing no other recourse, all of them started crying loudly, very loudly. And when Krishna saw that all of them were crying, at that point of time, Krishna reappeared amongst the gopis. Tāsamāvirabhucchare smayamāra mukhambujah pītāmbaradharah sragvi sakshan manmatha. Tāsam avirabhucchari swayamana, with a smile on his face, lotus face. Tāsam avirabhucchari, Krishna appeared before the gopis. Pītāmbaradharah sragvi. Pītāmbaradhara, he was wearing a yellow garment. And sragvi, and a garland. And he appeared in front of them. Sakshan manmatha, as the bewilderer of even Cupid, who bewilders the entire world. This is how Sri Krishna appeared in front of them. Then all the different gopis, they took up various positions around him. One gopi held his hands. Another gopi was fanning him. Another gopi was bringing a betel nut. Another gopi was playing a musical instrument. Another gopi was simply glancing at him from the corners of her eyes with slight anger. Their devotees, all these gopis performed various services for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. Now, question arises, Dāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, have we seen any such romantic interactions in the material world that in our experience, do we know of any such romantic interactions?
No, Prabhuji.
No, we have never heard. We never heard somebody in the material world, if somebody were to have many women attracted to him, there's an English term, liberty, a libertine, and it's not a very good term to be used. He would be called a libertine. But Sri Krishna, despite attracting so many ladies, and he still supremely worshipped. This sort of interaction is not possible in the material world. It is only possible in the spiritual world with Bhagawan and his associates. Therefore, the happiness that is experienced in the spiritual world can never be experienced in any way in the material world. The arrangements are also done by Yogamaya, who's joyously ensuring that there is joy at each and every step for everyone involved. It's not under the domain of Mahamaya. And therefore, dear devotees, we should not have any doubts that these interactions with Sri Krishna are possible by the arrangement of Yogamaya. One gopi held his hands. Dear devotees, in the painting we see Sri Radha holding his hands. Some other acharyas say that there were two different gopis holding two different hands. But in the painting we see Sri Radha holding his hands. And Sri Hari Suri says, what was she trying to say while holding his hands? He was trying to say the following. Natvam kuru punah pragvan naham kuryan punah prabho tatkaram swakare nyadhat iti sachhapathaya kim. Natvam kuru punah pragvan. Krishna, don't do like this again. Naham kuryan punah prabho. I will also not do like this again. I will also not become proud again. Tatkaram swakare nyadhat. While placing Krishna's hands in her hand, iti sachhapathaya kim. They both exchange promises with each other. Dear devotees, this is the secret behind this pastime as revealed by Sri Hari Suri. Oh Krishna, please do not repeat this act of disappearing again. We too promise that we won't repeat our act of becoming proud. The gopi took his hand in hers as if to exchange these promises. It's very sweet, dear devotees. Another gopi, for every action that the gopi did, he has composed so many verses. I cannot possibly bring out all the verses, and because it will take many sessions to explain each and every verse. So I'm just taking two from each. For the trees also, I took two examples. For the reunion also, I'm taking two examples. Another gopi was holding a betel leaf in her hand. And what was she thinking? Sri Hari Suri expresses the thought in her mind through a verse composed in the meter Vasant Tilakam. Adau vibhati namanaga yatra ragah samsevanottaramaparataranurakah tambulamishamiva vikshatatastada sevatadhikimiti sanjalina dadhara. Dāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, just look at the tambul, betel nut. Have you seen the betel nut, Prabhu?
Actually, haven't.
You've not seen people eating pan?
No, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay, no problem. Do we have Param Karuna Prabhu is here today? Let's have somebody who is.
Let me allow.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone can unmute themselves.
Yeah, Param Karuna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We have seen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, you have seen the pan, Prabhuji? Yes, betel
Yes,
nut leaf.
Prabhuji.
Adav
Yes.
vibhati namanagapi yatra raga. Prabhu, what is the color of the betel nut leaf?
Green.
Green. There is no raga. Raga means the color red in that leaf. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Some sevanottaram, but when you do some seva, when you consume it, immediately which color comes out, Prabhu?
Red.
Aparitaranuraga. Immediately there is red color. One meaning of raga is red color. Another meaning of raga is immense attachment. So this tambula, it does not have any raga, any red color. But on performing seva, on eating it, it generates immense raga, red color. Arey, tambulam ishamiva, this tambula is like Krishna. The Krishna also initially did not show any raga, any attachment to us. But we served him some sevanottaram. Now he is showing immense raga. Oh, this tambula is just like Bhagawan Sri Krishna. Therefore, considering tambula as a representative of Sri Krishna and for offering the mood of Sri Krishna unto Sri Krishna, that Gopi took up the tambula, indicating to Sri Krishna his own mood and offered it to him. Dear devotees, it's a very sweet verse. This tambula, betel leaf, is just like Krishna. Initially, there is no raga, there is no redness, or there is no love in his interactions. But as soon as you come in close contact and serve him, there is immense raga to be found. Thinking in this way, the Gopi took the betel nut leaf in her hand, considering it to be a representative of Sri Krishna. Very sweet verse for each and everything. This is Bhakti Rasayanam, Sri Hari Suri. A very, very sweet experience of Sri Krishna Lila. If it touches your heart, dear devotee, it is Rasayanam. It is an Ayurvedic medicine. It will cure your heart of the disease of lust. There is a reason why he named it Rasayanam. He said, no, Hridroga Paham. In the beginning of his composition, he said, this Rasayanam, if you serve, if you relish it nicely, it will take away the disease of your heart. And as I specified last time, see here, the sweetness of interactions is being brought out. Not the sweetness of the touching each other, or not the sweetness of the physical union. No. The sweetness of the interactions. That is what Sri Rupa Goswami said is the characteristic of an expert rasika. That mitho lila vilasena yatha sukham na tatha samprayogena. That the sweetness that is there in the mutual dealings of the gopis and Krishna, that sweetness is not so much in the physical union of both of them. And this Sri Rupa Goswami has brought out at the end of the Ujjvala nilamanih. And we can see this, that those who are rasikas, they take greater pleasure in describing these sweet interactions of gopis and Srimati, of Sri Krishna. So dear devotees, please do not think that all these interactions, why did Krishna enjoy with so many ladies? These are our inheritance. We should own them. Even when Parikshit Maharaj had these doubts, Shukdev Goswami said, don't try to measure Krishna in terms of worldly morality. When Shukdev Goswami says that, our commentator also resonates with Shukdev Goswami's thought process and says something. Pitra lekha pramahaputra na pita putra lekhadihi dharma esho bhavat sustho na dharmam shosti kaschana. Those people who are trying to say Krishna should have acted morally, God has a responsibility of acting morally when he comes to the world. Listen carefully. The person who creates the rules of this world is Brahma. He is the one who created all the rules. The Sanskrit term for rule is Vidhi. And the Sanskrit term for Brahma is also Vidhi. He is known as Vidhi because he created all the Vidhis. But Brahma is whose son? Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu.
Vishnu.
Yes. Pitra Alekha Brahmaputra. The father's Alekha will becomes applicable to the son. Have you ever seen Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu? That the son's Alekha or will becomes applicable to the father? Please tell me.
Yes.
The son's will affects the father at any point of time?
Do you mean will as in decision or will as in inheritance?
Inheritance.
Oh, yeah, after the passing of the father, it becomes the son's property.
No, but whatever is written by the son in the will, does it affect the father?
No.
No. But whatever is
Sorry.
written in the whatever is written in the will by the father, does it affect the son?
Yes.
So the father's will becomes applicable to the son. The son's will never becomes applicable to the father. Brahma is not the father, Brahma is the son. Whatever vidhi he writes in his will never become applicable to the father. Therefore, Krishna is never forced to accept any writings of his son, and thus no irreligiosity is present in his acts. This was nicely proven through Krishna's activities. He gives another argument, dear devotees. Yadeshyadadharmastadaisham charitram katham shrinvatam syadadharmapahari tato nirnaya spashta eva janiha swayam kartumishonyatha kartumishah. Are yadhi syadadharmaha, O doubtful soul, if Supreme Lord's activities consist of adharma, then how will these acts remove the sins of those who listen to them? Hasn't Shukdev Goswami promised at the end, yeah, that this will remove all the lust of the heart? Tato nirnayah spashta. Therefore, the conclusion is very spashta, it is clear. Vayam kartum isho, the person who can set the rules. Anyatha kartum isha, can also break the rules at any point of time. Dear devotees. So, Shukdev Goswami has promised that there will be an immensely positive effect of hearing the Rasa Lila. And this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vikriditam rajavadhubiridam cha Vishnu Shraddhanvito nushrunuyadhatha varnayedyah Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam Hridrogamashvapahinotyā chirena dhīrah. This verse has helped me immensely, in my own life, because by memorizing this verse, I could attain something which, would otherwise remain distant for me. But dear devotees, this verse is very nice. Vikriditam vrajavadhu biridam cha Vishnu. What is the effect of hearing Rasa Lila faithfully? Anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan, Bhaktim param, will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. And thus he will quickly become sober, dhiraha, and conquer lust, hridrogamashu apahinoti, the disease of the heart. Dear devotees. But Shraddhanvito, hear with faith, from the previous rasikas, and hear according to their direction. And the first thing that they will tell is, Bhagawan's body is not made out of 7 material elements: skin, flesh, blood, fat, bone, marrow, and semen. Therefore, the entire pastime is not of material enjoyment. Dear devotees. The rasikas will also tell that there is physical union between the gopis and Sri Krishna. This physical union has the name Samprayoga. But the Samprayoga aspect of the union is not as important as the various sweet interactions of gopis and Sri Krishna that take place before the Samprayoga and after the Samprayoga. Dear devotees. So, when our heart understands that the sweetness is mainly in the interactions of the gopis and Sri Krishna, at that point of time, our heart, the knot in the heart gets loosened, and we understand where the rasa lies. We know where the rasa is in how a person interacts with Sri Krishna. That is where the rasa is, dear devotees. The sweetness is in how a person interacts with Sri Krishna. Let's take Sakhyaras. Let's take 2 friends of Sri Krishna. Alright, one friend, both friends climb on the shoulders of Sri Krishna. But one friend also jokes very nicely, and makes sarcastic remarks exactly when they are needed. Another friend is not so expert in doing that. But both of them are able to climb on Krishna's shoulder. So who do you think Krishna and the devotees relish more? The friend who is an expert one or the friend who is not so expert? Please tell me, Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu.
Not so expert.
People take more enjoyment in hearing about the person who is yet learning, or the person who's fully expert?
Sorry, Prabhuji. Fully expert.
Yeah. So, although both friends are performing the same activity of climbing on Sri Krishna's shoulders, but Sri Krishna also derives great pleasure from a friend who is able to give witty remarks, who is able to, cut nice jokes. So, dear devotees, the rasa is in the sweet interactions, mainly in the sweet interactions. That is what is the focal point of understanding Srila Rupa Goswami's literature. In Madhurya Rasa, there is greater sweetness in the mutual interaction of Krishna and the gopis as compared to their physical union. So this is a very clear Siddhanta that everybody should understand. And once you start hearing about the varieties of union and separation, you will understand one thing: such varieties of exchanges are simply not possible in the material world. Simply not possible. For example, let's take the case of Purvarag. Purvarag means Srimati Radharani and Krishna have not yet met. They're only hearing about each other. They are eager to meet. What we call fresh budding love, first love. So there are so many varieties of Purvarag. Swapnaja or Darshanaja. Sometimes she sees him in a dream and then she starts having these feelings for him. Swapnaja. Now, how many of us in the material world can have 3 or 4 varieties of Purvarag in our own love lives? It's simply not possible. I'm just speaking about one tiny aspect of union. The varieties that are there in that one tiny aspect are immense. Then the mind understands actually that the pleasure that can be had here can never be had in the material. Never ever. And then there is one verse by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And what is that verse? Param drishtva nivartate. Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, do you know that entire verse?
Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate.
Oh, wonderful, Prabhuji. So, Prabhu, I am sharing my screen and this is the verse. Okay. You're able to see the verse, Prabhu? Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Vishaya vinivartante. Sense objects temporarily go away. For whom? Niraharasya dehina. For somebody who restricts his senses. Right? But what doesn't go away? Rasa varjam. But the rasa doesn't go away because he's forcibly stopping his senses. Except for rasa, everything goes away. His sense enjoyment goes away because he stopped himself. Niraharasya. He's not giving himself enjoyment. So those who have stopped their enjoyment forcibly, Vishaya vinivartante. Their sense enjoyment goes away temporarily. But that rasa, lingering feeling of sweetness stays within them. So rasa varjam, except for rasa. But rasopi, but that rasa will also go away. How will it go away? Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu, what is the last line? Please repeat the last line in Sanskrit.
Param drishtva nivartate.
Param kim drishtva nivartate. Seeing what? Param what?
Kim drishtva. The rasa of the spiritual world.
Wonderful. The third line says rasopi. The rasa goes away by seeing param what? Param rasam drishtva nivartate. So when the jiva understands that there is, because what remains is not the sense enjoyment, but the rasa for sense enjoyment is remaining in him. But that rasa also goes away when param kim, param rasam drishtva nivartate. So on seeing that there is a superior rasa, that rasa also goes away. So this is what is the intended meaning of this entire pastime. Sri Jiva Goswami says our Madhurya Ras is so supreme No materialist can ever touch it. Composes a sweet verse in the Gopal Champuh, in the meter Malini. Yadamita rasa shastre vyanji vaidagdya vrindam tadanuma pina vetum kalpate kamiloka tadakhilam api yasya prema sindhaura kinchin mithunamachita kopi rupame tadvibhati. Yadamita rasa shastre, in the limitless expanse of rasa literature, mundane romantic novels, Vyanji Vaidagdhya Vrindam, there is an enormous variety of romantic expertise that has been expressed by the great poets. Tad anumapina vittum kalpate kamiloka. The typical lusty person cannot grasp even a tiny atom of that expertise. And he's speaking about the material world here. Huh? Take all the romantic literature of the material world. Take Romeo and Juliet, or the classical romantic novels. Take the novels which have melancholy, which end in separation. Take the novels which end in union, and take all that combined expertise. There is limitless expanse of expertise in the material world, no doubt. But the typical lusty person is so unfortunate in his love life, he cannot get even access to a tiny atomic fraction of what is described in the books. Tadakhilam api yasya prema sindhaura kinchin. Now, this entire expertise of the romantic literature of the material world, all that expertise becomes absolutely insignificant in comparison to the ocean of prema of a particular divine couple. Which couple is that? Mithunam, that couple is Ajita Gopi Rupam, the eternal form of Ajita, Bhagawan Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Etad Vibhati, that couple is the most splendid in the entirety of creation. Because the variegatedness of love that you will see in this divine couple, it will defeat all the romantic literature that you can ever find in the material world. You can ever find, and forget about the lusty person who can't have access even to a tiny fragment of what is present in the material world. Forget about that person. So, dear devotees, if you want to become most fortunate, tatrapi rasotsavad vrindaranyam, take shelter of Shri Vrindavan, because the great Ras Utsav took place in this particular land of Shri Vrindavan. With this, dear devotees, I pause my speech. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam saha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva menahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit. If there are any mistakes in what I presented, vidvam saha, you are all learned devotees, purayantu tat. Please correct any mistakes. But yadatra saushthavam kinchit. Whatever was nice, whatever was rasik, whatever was sweet, tad guroreva. It all came from my Gurujanas. May nahi. None of it belongs to me, dear devotees. None of it. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a really, really wonderful presentation. You've really shown the supremely excellent and elevated nature of the Madhurya Rasa as something we can't even imagine from anything in this material world. And I see a lot of hands up, so it looks like devotees are eager to ask questions. We'll just request that please keep your questions focused on today's class. Don't bring up any particular person or institution, and try to keep things short if possible, and if not, come back for a second round.
And if somebody wants to ask a query related to a particular obscure reference which they were studying, which is not directly related to the topic, then it's better to ask in the group so that I also get time to look up the reference.
You're so patient, Prabhuji. It really impresses me. Our first question is from Tanvi Mataji. Okay, I'm not hearing Tanvi. We'll go to Bishwadeep Roy, Prabhu. I'm clicking ask to unmute. Am I doing something wrong?
Not able to unmute?
I'm clicking ask to unmute and nothing's happening.
Tanvi Mataji is unmuted. Tanvi Mataji?
I've got it so anyone can unmute themselves. Let's try Jai Dwarka, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my pronouns Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful rustic explanation. Prabhuji, my question was from this point where you explained that Srila Goswami is explaining that even the pride of the gopis is worshipable for us.
Yeah.
So the point, so my question here in this case was, so how can this become the reason for Krishna to disappear?
Okay, wonderful. So as I said in that talk, the reason of it was just a pretext on which he wanted to ensure separation. This was not the reason. He didn't want to teach them a lesson or something. Although the Bhagavatam presents it in a way that, they got proud and Bhagavan disappeared. But it was a pretext on which Bhagavan wanted to introduce Viraha, because it goes from union to separation, to union to separation. Now the Rasa Lila is already taking place and you already have union going on. But before, to achieve further taste in the union, it is important to apply temporary separation. For this purpose, Bhagavan introduced that. And therefore, I quoted that verse from Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Jiva Goswami also, when he discusses this particular pastime in his Krama Sandarbha commentary, at that point of time, Sri Jiva Goswami also uses the same verse. I will show you this particular verse. The verse that I quoted was Tatraiva antar-hita, that Bhagavan, Bhagavan disappeared from the Rasa Lila. And this is what, Sri Jiva Goswami says. I am sharing my screen with you, so you can have a look. Just a minute. Yeah. Yeah, here is the screen sharing, and this is the verse. Tasam tat saubhagamadam vikshamanam chaketa prashamaya prasadaya tatraiva antardhiyata. This is the verse I quoted. Antardhiyata means he became antar-hita. He disappeared. And we will go to all the commentators. See here, Sri Vamshidhar. He also says, na vina vipralambhena sambhoga pushtimash. The verse which I quoted. Srila Srinath Chakravarti also says, na vina vipralambhegna sambhoga pushtimashnute. So in this way, all the commentators, they are quoting this verse. Sri Jiva Goswami also, in the Krama Sandarbha, Brihat Krama Sandarbha, he is quoting, see here, na vina vipralambhena sambhoga pushtimashnute. This is the conclusion of all the acharyas. In order to ensure separation, Sri Jiva Goswami, Jiva Goswami, he says, in order to ensure separation, Sri Krishna disappeared so that the union can become more tasty. So I hope that answers your query.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
We'll give another try with Tanvi Mataji.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji, I had this question that as you spoke about the Falashruti of the Ras Utsav, so previously I had heard from you that the Falashrutis which sometimes we get, it's not it's just for motivation for the sadhakas. So how should we know that exactly which Falashruti we should accept, and how should we reconcile this?
Okay, the question has a technical term, Falashruti. What is the meaning of Falashruti? Falashruti means the result of hearing something or the result of chanting something. So what was the result of hearing Rasa Lila? With faith, the result was promised that one will become free of lust. But previously I have also, quoted Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, where Rupa Goswami says often these Falashrutis are given in order to motivate those who are external to the path of bhakti, in order to motivate them to take to the path of bhakti. So how do we know whether this is not that type of a Falashruti? That is the query, Mataji? Yes? Hare Krishna? Is that the type
Yes,
of...
Prabhuji, yes.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
if we see the original verse of Sri Rupa Goswami, I'll share my screen. If we see, this is the verse that Rupa Goswami had composed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. See here. Keshamchit kvachidanganam yat shudram shruyate phalam bahirmukha pravritya etat kintu mukhyam phalam rati. So Mataji, what is the mukhyam phalam? What is the main result that the Shastras will give? Mukhyam phalam is what?
So about this, that if we hear faithfully, we
No,
will
no, 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 no,
develop
no.
love and
Answer in terms of what I have highlighted. Mukhyam phalam is what?
ratihi.
Ratihi. Sri Krishna prem. But kshudram
Yes.
shruyate phalam. If Shastra promises some other material insignificant benefits, in that case this may be applicable. But here in the Bhagavatam, in the 5 chapters of the Rasa Lila, the result promised is Shudram Phalam, insignificant fruit, or Mahat Phalam, great fruit. What is being promised?
Mahat phalam.
Mahat Phalam. It's not Phalam, it is Pha. Mahat Phalam. Mahat Phalam is being promised. Alright? Mahat Phalam is being promised here. A great result is being promised here. Therefore, please try to understand that this is not, the same as other insignificant results that are promised elsewhere in Shastra. So I hope that clarifies.
So does moksha also come in this, or mahat phalam, or not?
Obviously, Mukhyam Phalam Ratihi. Rupa Goswami, what did Rupa Goswami say? He include this, not even half a syllable is insignificant. Mukhyam Phalam Ratihi. The main result is Rati. Everything has been mentioned here in the verse by Sri Rupa Goswami.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Next we have Kamala Mataji and Kamaniya Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad to you, Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas. Prabhuji, you are taking us to the different heights of devotion every weekend, it seems. Very wonderful class, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, initially you mentioned that while talking about the highest point of union, that I worship lust, anger, greed, deceit, pride, falsities of Radha and Madhava. So Prabhuji, in which context it is being said, and like how we should understand, and because when you say I worship greed, lust, pride, and all, like what context, and like as a neophyte in the devotion, how we should understand this.
I specified in the talk that if at this point of time we are not eligible to directly relish the interactions of Sri Radha and Krishna, worship means we keep on our head and we hope for achieving a state of advancement where we can appreciate them. This is one way of worshipping. So worship from a distance. Another way of worship is for those who are qualified. Worship means those who directly relish. That is the meaning of worship for them. So if somebody is eligible, they can directly relish. Somebody who is not eligible, they can worship from a distance. Both are worship. But
Yes,
once
but
one,
even if, yeah,
yes,
even if
yes.
they are eligible, how they will worship? Because these are the kind of, is there the different terms in a spiritual world for these names? Because these are considered as a, what you call, durgunas, right? Not a good qualities, right? Especially when you talk about Madhurya. So even if somebody is eligible, how they will worship? That's what I'm trying to, think. And no doubt, because I'm not eligible, but still, how they will think this qualities as.
There's a very simple praman for that in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami says this is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.285. Premaiva gopa ramanam kama ityagamat pratham. So the prema of the gopis is often denoted as kam. So when, right, prema eva gopa ramana. Gopa ramana means of the gopis. The prema of the gopis, what name is it sometimes given?
Kama.
Kam. So whenever they say kama, anybody says kama of gopis or of Srimati Radharani, what do we have to understand?
Prem.
Wonderful. Like that. Because there is no tinge of kama in the gopis. There's no tinge of material lust in the gopis. There's no tinge of material anger. But these are all effects of bhakti ras. These are all components of bhakti ras. They are not bad qualities when it comes to the gopis. They are all factors of bhakti ras that they are experiencing. Now, is it
So
okay to
some,
worship the factors of bhakti ras, such as kama, krodha, lobha, etc.?
yeah, because they are called as a subdivisions of prema. That's why, correct?
Yeah, wonderful. Now you understood.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now
Okay.
I got it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Dhāmeśvara Mahaprabhu?
I'm sorry, Prabhuji, I had to help with the baby.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Should I take over?
Parama Karuna Prabhu is here.
I think
I had,
he's having a jet lag. I can take over.
oh, I'm sorry, I'll have to have you take over, Prabhuji.
Sure. Prabhu was traveling. I'll take over. There are a few queries. Next we have Akshay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question was related to the context where we were discussing how Krishna's Rasa Lila is not immoral because the rules are made by Brahma and he is beyond that. Something similar discussion Krishna is having with Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. He is telling, I'm beyond this duty and this doesn't apply to me. And further he tells, but I still do it to set example so that people further don't follow me and there is unwanted population. But here, in a way, Rasa Lila seems to be externally immoral, and sometimes people do quote Krishna for doing their immoral acts. So how to see this?
Therefore, in the one of the verses which I quoted by Sri Hari, Swayam kartum isho anyatha kartum isha. He has the choice of making the rules and following the rules. But he also should have the freedom of breaking the rules. Usually he doesn't break. Some cases he breaks. Not Rasa Lila is not the only example. He's the Acharya of Bhagavad Gita who says one should not have anger, greed, and desire. Kam, Krodh, Moha. Kam, Krodh, Lobha. These are three gates to hell. But when Mother Yashoda left him without drinking milk, he had Krodha for, he exhibited externally Krodha. And he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yudhe Chapya Palayanam, the Kshatriya should never show his back in a battle. But when facing Kal Yavan, he showed his back in the battle. Swayam kartum ishon yatha kartum ishon. He who makes the rules can follow it sometimes and sometimes breaks it also. That is the meaning of it. The parliament sets the rules for the country And those who are rule makers, lawmakers in the parliament, they most of the times follow the rules. Sometimes, they may break a traffic signal because they have to go somewhere or something like that. Swayam kartum isha anyatha kartum isha. Right? This is what it is. Thank you. Next we have Mohit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Actually, my question was not regarding this class, but it was regarding that how our acharyas have established the supremacy of parakya as the relationship between the lovers or the beloveds, and the over swakya the relationship between husband and wife. Like, I was waiting for this. If this is going to happen in the upcoming classes, then I'm ready to wait for it.
Yeah, maybe wait for it, or if you want, you can ask it in the group.
No, is it coming? Like, it is going to come.
See, I'm in the process of preparing the presentation. So if it will come, it will come. Right? It's not that I have all the presentations ready till the end. If it comes, it comes. But if it doesn't come,
I was very eager to hear from you actually. That
if it's a short question, you can ask right.
yes, please answer because I don't want to like.
What is the question? What is the question?
The supremacy of parakya means the relationship between the lovers or beloveds, and the swakya means relationship between husband and a wife. How our acharyas have established the supremacy.
See,
of parakya.
This rasa is extremely immoral in the material world. Right? Extremely immoral in the material world. One should never think of this rasa in the material world. Because what happens is, there is a fine line between, when we start considering it as moral, it's moral for whom? So it's parakya rasa is moral and only for Bhagawan Sri Krishna. That's what it is. There's a verse in the Natak Chandrika, which Sri Rupa Goswami quotes. Originally, it is from a literature named Rasa Lila of Sudeva. Let me try to find it. This verse is Nishta Yadangini Rase Kabhir Parodha. Let me try to find it. Yes. Tachoktam Rasa Vilase Sudeva Krite. I'll share my screen with you. Natak Chandrika of Rupa Goswami. Nishta Yadangini Rase Kabhir Parodha. Tad Gokulambu Jadrishangulam Asham Sayarasa Vidhairavataritaram Kamsangrinarasika Mandala Shekharana. Should be Avataritanam. Neshta, na ishta. It's not at all desired. Who is not desired? Parodha. A girl besides one's wife. In which rasa? Angini rasa, in Shringar Ras. So in Shringar Ras of the material world, in the romantic literature of the material world, the kavis, kavivihi, the expert poets, do not desire na ishta. Whom they do not desire? Parodha. A lady who is wedded to somebody else. But the antar-hita, but the only exception to this is Kulam, the group of Gokulambuja, the ladies of Gokul. The only exception to this is that. Asham Saya Rasa Vidhairavataritaana. They have been manifested, in this world by Rasa Vidhi. Kamsarina Rasika Mandala Shekharan, by Shri Krishna for this purpose only. The purpose of what is the purpose of manifesting the gopis in the world? It's only this purpose. That is the purpose for which gopis were manifested in the world. Tell me what greater proof is needed. But this is from Sudev's Rasvilas. It's not by Sri Rupa Goswami originally. The authors previous to Rupa Goswami were writing about this. So Rupa Goswami took from them and gave credit to them. This is Natak Chandrika. So, Neshta Yadangini Raseva Vivir Paro Kavivih Paroda Tad Gokulam Bujadrishankulam Antarena Asham Saya Rasa Vidher Avataritana Kamsarina Rasika Mandala Shekharena. It's very nice verse. This verse proves that The very purpose of making the gopis manifest in the world is so that Bhagavan could enjoy Parakiya Rasa. Bhagavan api. Bhagavan also. Saratri. Sharadot Fulla Mallik. Bhagavan also. Bhagavan api. Alright. What is the meaning of
Yes.
Bhagavan api? Usually the
Bhagwan bhi.
Bhagavan also desired. Usually the jiva has desires. Nitya Nityanam, Chetanas Chetanam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. But that night, Bhagavan api, that night, even Bhagavan started having desires. So this is the reason why Parakiya Rasa is supremely glorified. All right. Okay.
Yes,
Chalo.
sir. But I will be waiting also for further.
Further, what? This is all. That's all.
If this topic came in the further classes.
Again, entire books have been written on this topic. So further, you can, when you have the eligibility, you can read the book when.
Under the guidance of proper.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Next we have Dipayan Mukherjee Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you for a very wonderful class in Q&A. My question is regarding the point about what you said. When we study these Leelas, we realize that this kind of rasa is just not possible in this world or in this life. At the same time, I'm thinking about the point which you mentioned that Srila Rupa Goswami is following the system of Bharat Muni. So, has Bharat Muni described this type of rasas in his literature?
No,
Or
Bharat
has
Muni,
Rupa Goswami?
Bharat Muni described only 8 rasas in his literature. Okay. Abhinav Gupta gave the 9th one. These 8 and 9, 8 rasas described by Bharat Muni are purely pertaining to the material world. Okay. Shringar, Adbhut,
And for
Asya, Veer. These are all the rasas described by Bharat Muni. Bhakti rasas are given exclusively by Srila Rupa Goswami. That's what it is.
and the descriptions of say Shringara rasa is different given by both the authors.
Sri Jiva Goswami says Prakrita Shringara Rasa Samadrishtya. The Madhurya Rasa appears similar to Prakrita Rasa in many ways, but there is a big difference. What is the big difference? As I told you, the difference starts with the bodies of the people involved. Krishna's body is not the same as the body of the material, Nayak, the material hero. So there's big difference. But externally, many things appear similar.
So like the variety of emotions and interactions.
No. Those are, that is only Sri Rupa Goswami gives. That is
Okay.
Madanakya Mahabhava, Dhirud Mahabhava, Modanakya Mahabhava. All these are not given by anybody else. That's only Sri Rupa Goswami.
Okay.
The
Yes.
intensity,
Thank you. This was
the intensity is reached only in the spiritual interactions, not in the literature. Therefore, I quoted that verse by Jiva Goswami, right, at the end. Yadamita rasa shastre vyanji vaidakte vrindam. Tadamupina vetum kalpate kami lokah. Tadakhilamappi yasya prema sindhau na kinchid mithunamajita gopi rupam etat. That entire romantic literature of the material world is nothing in comparison to the ocean of love of Srimati Radha. That verse was quoted for that purpose at the end.
yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yeah.
I didn't understand in that verse, Mukta Sumanasa, why was it surprising that the devotees are liberated?
See, the devotees who are Sumanasas means they have beautiful mind. Therefore, they are Sumanasas. But since they are sadhakas, right now they are practitioner devotees, they are not yet liberated. But on hearing the Rasa Lila, which externally appears like mundane romance, what is surprising is that the Sumanasas, the practitioner devotees, got liberated by hearing these pastimes. This is what he wants to say. In fact, in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, He composes a beautiful verse. It says, Yata shasyana yat priyam bhavati tat syat kami loka priyam. Yad vastvasya saukhyashali bhavati preshtham cha tad yogina. Satyevam yadi havatara charite pritirtvayor utkata. Hetustatra tatha charitra sarane narayani iti sputam. What a sweet verse it says. Yata shasyana yat priyam bhavati. There's something which the yogi does not like. The Ashtanga yogi, the extreme renunciate does not like. What does he not like? He does not like hearing about girlfriend and boyfriend. This talk he doesn't like. Tat syat kami loka priyam. But this talk is very dear to the lusty people. The yogi is on one end of the society and the lusty is on the other end of the society. So what the yogi doesn't like, this person likes. And what this person doesn't like, what does the kami not like? The lusty person does not like hearing about transcendental truths. But preshtham cha tad yogina, the yogi likes that very much. Satyevam yadi havatara charita. Now see the magic in this particular appearance of Bhagavan. Pritir dvayor utkata. Both these opposites of the society will come and sit in the same assembly and hear carefully the Rasa Lila. Hetu statra tatha charitra sarani narayani. This is the glory of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's pastimes. That both opposites of the society will be attracted and harmonized and be given the opportunity to attain the highest perfection in the same assembly. This is the glory of Sri Krishna's pastime.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. That really makes the meaning clear. Next, we have Vishwadeep Roy Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you Prabhuji so much for the class and again bringing us in contact of Hari Suri. Bad. So my question is that we have seen that Madhurya Ras is the topmost Ras, and also as a Rupanuga we aspire for Manjari Bhav. I missed some class, so I'm not sure if this is answered. You can say.
No. First and foremost, as a Rupanuga, we aspire for who made this compulsion.
No,
Why are we turning Rupa Goswami into another institution? All right. Okay.
Okay, if we
because the question has some presumptions that if somebody is a Rupanuga, he must aspire for Manjari Bhav. No. Rupa Goswami did not write Manjari Bhav Rasamrit Sindhu. What did Rupa Goswami write? Well, so that is what it is. So Rupa Anuga means following any one teaching of Rupa Goswami. That is Rupa, you agree, right? Following any one teaching of Rupa Goswami, Rupa Anuga. So you are a Rupa Anuga if you are following Raganuga Bhakti or as given by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. That you are Rupa Anuga. No problem in that. Okay. Okay. So what is the question?
So if we see Manjari Bhav, so can we consider it as Madhurya Ras?
Manjari Bhav is one of the subcategories of those devotees who are really from Madhurya Ras.
Yeah, so but we can also see there is a component of, means it looks externally that component of Dāsa is also relevant. So can you explain about this?
The Dāsa is towards Srimati Radha. Radha Dāsa.
And for Krishna, what is it?
Krishna Madhurya Ras. Are they not attracted to Sri Krishna themselves? Bolo.
Okay. Yes.
They are attracted to Sri Krishna themselves or no? They are attracted to Krishna's beauty. In which mood?
Madhurya.
Yes, that answers you very. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Next, we have Paramakaruna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Prabhuji, I really liked that verse that you had shown about the betel leaf. Which could you please flash it at once? And my question is that if there are any one or two more verses that come to your mind which are similar, I would really like that. It really touched my heart because that is kind of my situation. So I'm hoping by doing some more seva, I can find the raga from a position of no raga.
This is the worst, Prabhu. Adau vibhati namanaga yatra raga samsevanuttarama bharataranguraga tambulamishamiva vikshata tastata seva tadhikimita sanjali nadadhara. This is the nature of the tambul. Adau, initially it does not have any raga. It is just green color. But some sevanottaram. Once you do some sevan, one meaning of sevan is to serve. One meaning of sevan is to eat. So some sevanottaram, after some seva, then it gives immense raga. So this is what it is. That is the same nature as Sri Krishna. Initially, he did not save. He did not show any raga towards the gopis. But later, when they did some seva of Sri Krishna. At that time, he immediately displayed raga or affection for
it. This seva can...
Yes, Prabhu?
This seva can also be seva to guru or devotees, because like you said, the raga manifests by the mercy of a devotee. It's not a process, or there is no vaidhi to reach raga. It's just there by past pious activities or by fortune, by one's past fortune.
Yes, of course, it can have you can try to derive a meaning in the context of a sadhaka. That, a sadhak also by service to Guru, because Guru is considered as one of the manifestations of Sri Krishna. Acharya mam vijaniyan. Sri Krishna says, know the Acharya to be myself. But service to Acharya, the mood of Dasya, can lead to attainment of raga towards Sri Krishna.
What else can be the sort of the meaning that we can take here in terms of the seva that this verse is talking about, or any other?
The verse is Sri Krishna also towards the jivas. Initially, he does not show any raga, even for a sadhaka, because the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Muktim dadati kahichit svana bhakti yogam. At one point of time, he will give mukti, impersonal liberation easily, but he will not give love towards him so easily. So why does he not give so easily? Because some sevanottaram. He expects some seva. Some seva means some good, some samyak seva. He expects good amount of service towards not only the Guru, but also towards him. Yasya deve para bhaktir, yatha deve tatha gurau, tasyaite kathita yartha prakashante. Only by displaying para bhakti, the topmost variety of bhakti towards Krishna and towards the Guru, does the essential meaning of Shastra become manifest within the heart of the Mahatma. The essential meaning of Shastra becomes manifest.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Next we have Samarpana Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I think this verse I liked, which you quoted. I think it is from Hari Suri. So I think about yogis and the karmis and like that. So is it to the commentary to Nivritta Tarashe Rupagiyamana?
Yes. This is in the commentary 10.1.4. Nivritta Tarashe Rupagiyamana. Bhava Ushada Chhotra Mano Viramat. Kva Uttama Shloka Gunanuvata Tuman Viracheta Vina Pashutnath. It's a very nice verse that we got.
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to confirm another nice aspect of Hari Suri ji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Next we have Omkar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the class today, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had a question about the experience of the rasa. From the point of a person who is experiencing some rasa, how does he see himself? Does he see himself as a person? Like, for example, there are two friends which are enacting some drama, or maybe about them which it is spoken. So, does he see himself as the friend, or what is the element through which he actually relishes the rasa? Like, how does he see himself in the drama or the explanation or the lila? Like, how does he see himself?
All right. See, there is drama means there are drama is nothing but kavya. Kavya means poetics. Kavya poetics are of two types: drishya kavya, shravya kavya. Poetry which is enacted and seen, poetry which is heard. In drishya kavya, poetry which is seen, it becomes easier to relish the rasa because most of your senses are engaged. In shravya kavya, poetry which is heard, the person who's hearing has to apply their minds in order to make up the scene. Right? So this is the difference between drishya kavya and shravya kavya. Poetry which is seen, poetry which is heard. Now, let's say you are seeing a drama. Yes? And the drama is Ram Lila. That Bhagawan Ram's pastimes are going on. Bhagawan Ram has left for the forest, but Bharat did not come to know because he was out of the kingdom. Bharat came back, he severely chastises, his mother, and then he goes to the forest, and after a lot of searching in the forest, he finally sees Bhagawan Ram. And then there is Ram and Bharat Milak. So the audience, people start crying because they are empathizing with Bharat. At this point of time, they are not empathizing with Ram. They are empathizing with Bharat. So is the audience Bharat? But the audience is empathizing with Bharat. Similar.
Yes.
In Rupa Goswami's literature is mainly, a lot of it is Shravya Kavya, hear and relish. Some of it is Drishya Kavya. Lalit Madhav Natakam, Vidagh Madhav Natakam are supposed to be enacted. Dan, Keli, Kaumudi, Shravya, hear and relish. Now you are hearing, let's say, you hear that, Srimati Radharani's eyes, they have 7 or 8 different types of emotions going on simultaneously. It's called Bhav Shabalata.
Yes.
Right? So, Rupa Goswami, maybe I'll try to bring out that verse, Bhav Shabalata. So, when you hear that, then, you are seeing from the point of view of Rupa Manjari, who is describing what she saw in Srimati Radharani's eyes. Right? Now you are Sahriday to Sri Rupa Manjari. Right? So that is what Sri Rupa Manjari experiences in her heart. So some of that starts flowing in your heart. That is an experience of Bhakti Ras. Right? But through Shravya Kavya, through poetry which is heard. Now you also aspire for an identity so that you can directly experience. That is another part of your sadhaka. Right? So that's how it works.
Yes, true. So just follow up in that. So a person who is, like, say, hearing Rasa Lila or etc. pastime, which are between Radha and Krishna, actually he should focus more on the Pārṣadas who are accompanying the Radha and Krishna, because they are the
Vraja Lokanusarata. It was right there in the verse of Raganuga, Vraja Lokanu. Tishtan Vraje Tadanuragi Jana Anugami. Everything was mentioned there. 8th verse itself, this was here. Right?
Yes, sure. Sometimes when the point is that we should hear about the Krishna's Rasa dance. So sometimes the focus is only on hearing Radha Krishna's activities, but we should also simultaneously hear like how the Pārṣadas are serving it, so that we can see through their lens.
Krishnam Smaran Janam Cha Asya. You're not supposed to forget Krishna also. That otherwise you'll only focus on the associate and forget Krishna. Krishnam Smaran, while remembering Krishna, Janam Cha Asya. And how the Krishna Preshta Jana, the associate who is dear to your mood, how did they, interact. So, hearing both of them. So this is what Rupa Goswami says, right?
Yes,
Don't
true.
forget
Thank
Krishna,
you,
otherwise you
Prabhuji.
will focus only on the associate. But that's after you attain
Yes,
eligibility,
true.
engage in such sadhana, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes. Done.
Next we have Kamala Devi Mataji and Kamini Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving me a chance again. So, Prabhuji, while talking about the effects of hearing the Rasa Lila, you mentioned that it will quickly become sober and conquer the lust, and you will achieve the pure devotional service.
Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, when we talk, so since this is a pastime of Rasa Lila, we are talking about materially lust, but I believe there are greed, anger, everything, right? So, and you said that into that it is convinced that there is a superior rasa exist into the spiritual world, right? So that's a very heavy statement, especially as I understand. So when we talk or when we think or when we discuss this thing, that there is a superior rasa exists, what should be the supporting arguments or supporting thought process that because being in the material world, we just say simply plainly that okay, there is a superior rasa exists. Probably our mind will not get convinced 100%, or maybe even if we convince, it's not half. So
Right.
what should how we should take it, especially talking. I believe it can apply to any of this. So what should be our
You should not force yourself to get convinced. Conviction is through experience. Today, whatever verses we discussed from the previous acharyas, did you experience some bliss within the heart? Right? Some bliss. I'm not saying it's super bliss. Did you experience some bliss within the heart?
Yeah.
Yes. When the culture of experiencing such bliss through the writings of the previous acharyas will become more refined, and then the rasas starts flowing once. At that point of time, your experience itself will say, Param Drishtva. Hasn't Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartumapi. Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam. This particular form of religiosity, this particular form of yoga is pratyaksha. You have to experience it directly. Susukham. Very happily you perform this, joyously. Unless you have pratyaksha experience, direct experience, how will your mind get convinced? Impossible. So you have to experience it directly. Okay, so the Bhagavatam also confirms this fact. And I will share the verse. Maybe you can. Navai jano jatu kathanchana vrajen kund sevyanya vadanga samsriti. Just a minute, I will share my screen. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.19. Smaran mukundang ripaguhanam punar vihatumichen rasagrahojana. The term here used is rasagrahojana, a person who has graha, who has fully accepted and experienced rasa. Rasa of what? Mukunda Angri Upaguhanam, of embracing the lotus feet of the pastimes of Mukunda. By remembering that, Rasa Graha, by remembering that those pastimes, a person derives such pleasure. Vihatu Mitchin. You can Prabhu read the translation. Because a person, read from here.
Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again.
This is your Pramana. It is direct experience, Prabhu. Pratyaksha Bhagavam Dharmya. Susukham kartam. I'm not forcing you to accept something written on a board as theory. No, 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 no. You will have to experience directly.
So that's by listening the acharyas
Ah,
commenting all these things
wonderful.
again and again, right? Okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Prabhuji, in this verse, can Rasa Graha also mean haunted by Rasa?
Also mean?
Haunted by Rasa, like
Ah,
it
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
coming back to you. And
Yeah. Somebody whose entire existence is overtaken by Rasa. That is what you can say. Rasa Graha.
next, we have Vishwadeep Roy Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Bhagavad Pranam. My second question is that generally the Brajavasis have a very mamatva bhav towards Krishna. That
Mamatva, you
and
have to translate the technical term so that everybody can understand.
mindness.
They have a feeling
Krishna.
of events belongingness towards Bhagavan Sri Krishna.
Possessiveness.
Yeah, possessiveness.
Yes, possessiveness.
Yeah.
So they sometimes, they most of the time do not consider him as Bhagavan, Shadaishwar Aishwarya Purna Bhagavan, with full of opulences. But in some verses we see like Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan. So how to understand this type of verses? Why such Aishwarya opulence based glorification is done by devotees of Braja, like gopis and all.
Yeah, so you are saying that in the Gopi Geet, they are glorifying Bhagavan Shri Krishna. That Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akhila Dehina Mantaratmadai. So this sort of a glorification has some Aishwarya within it. So my question to you, Prabhu, is, is Goloka Vrindavan Aishwarya Shunya or completely devoid of Aishwarya? Or does it have Aishwarya but predominated by Madhurya?
Aishwarya Purna. Full of Aishwarya.
No. Golok Vrindavan, does it have
It's covered
zero?
over though.
It's covered over. Or is Aishwarya completely zero? It's not zero. It arises from time to time, but it gets covered up quickly by the Madhurya aspect. So, Aishwarya, which is made Sankuchit, which is covered up by Madhurya. So this is what it is.
Next, we have Manjari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, my pranam Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Again, a great shower of nectar. These Hari Suri Prabhu verses are truly amazing.
Thank you.
My question is a really practical one. We've witnessed so many of your extraordinary abilities in memorizing verses and wonderful presentations, slides. There is one mystic power of yours I'd like to ask about, is showing the exact reference needed at the right moment. I just don't understand how you have tons of files open on your computer. Everything is in one file, or how do you do that? How to just so quickly find verses? Can you help us with that?
Right. So, it's not that my computer is running on the same speed that everybody's computer is running. So it is not some search function or something, but when I am doing my personal swadhyay, I note down the verses and the context in which they were spoken. Because one thing is to read the verse and to understand it. Another thing is to be able to quote it in a certain context. See, every verse is a weapon. A weapon has a proper place of application. So every weapon can be used to smash a doubt. So that is what, Sri Krishna says in the Gita. Jnana Sina, using the weapon of knowledge, you smash your doubts to pieces. So a verse can be used as a weapon to solve a particular doubt. So when we are reading through the teachings of the acharyas, why did a particular acharya write what he wrote? That is very important. Sometimes we just say Jiva Goswami wrote this. Question arises, why did he write this sentence after this sentence? What is the connecting in between the two sentences the acharyas don't write off? Once we are able to figure out the why, the connecting lines between two sentences, then we know what was the context going on in the mind of the acharyas. So this is first thing. Second thing is to remember the original Sanskrit, and then third thing is to be able to find it through a simple word function by opening the document. So that is what it is. So it's Acharya Abhipraya. Why did a particular Acharya quote why did a particular Acharya say something? What was the reason going on in their mind? So once that reason is understood, then when a particular person asks a question about that reason, then we quote that particular verse, because we know that the acharyas had that in their mind when they wrote that verse or wrote that paragraph. So it's all about connecting the query to the thought process, exact thought process of the acharyas when they were also having a similar doubt. They were not having doubts, but when they were addressing a similar doubt in their writings. So I hope that clarifies. But that requires a good amount of study, because it's not possible otherwise. That is what it is.
Thank you so much for explaining that. I'm also specifically interested in, I understand that you know the verse you want to show us through the thought process you've explained. But if I remember a verse and I want to put it up on the screen, I would need to go into my into a folder and a folder and a folder, and then open it from there. And how do you find verses so quickly to show to us? What's your system in keeping your documents so that you can find a verse so quickly to show us? I'm sorry to, it's just such a practical thing for preaching and teaching.
So my documents are arranged according to author. The folders are arranged according to author. So I know which author it is. So I go to that particular author's folder. You will notice it takes about 10 to 15 seconds. So I go to that folder, open that particular document, and run a search query for that term which I have in mind. For example, if I have to show a person that Smaran is most important in Raganuga Bhakti, somebody asked, why is Smaran most important in Raganuga Bhakti? All right. Oh, where was this? Oh, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Oh, where was it? In Rag Vartma Chandrika. Chalo, let's go to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's folder. Let's open Rag Vartma Chandrika. I opened it right now. I'm sharing my screen with you. Right, I have not yet. This is Rag Vartma Chandrika. I have not yet begun the search function. Usually, I first search and then display on the screen. Then I search for Smaranasyatra, and it says here Prathamatah Krishna Smaranati Smaranasyatra Raganugayam Mukhyatvam. So Smaranasya Raganugayam Mukhyatvam. This is the quote by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti. See, I did it in front of you. That's it.
So it's folders by acharyas, and within that scripts, and then you search with.
Yeah. And also it's impossible to search with diacritics. So I had to make my own tool for typing diacritics on the fly, because I have Windows 11 doesn't support the previous diacritic tools. So I had to do script coding. I had to learn some script coding in order to write my own diacritic, so that whenever I type, for example, you will be able to see that I'm able to write any diacritics that I want. I'll share my screen. Yeah. So I'll share another screen here. If you want, whatever diacritics you want, you should be able to type whatever diacritics you want. Capital, small, these are whatever, as quickly as possible, you should be able to type it.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I also have a keyboard layout, but this finding so quickly. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'm sorry for not a philosophical question, but so much to learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Prabhuji, you mentioned that the verse Vikritam Vrajavadu Piradam Cha Vishnu has been particularly impactful for you in your life. If it's not too personal, would you expand on that?
when my own Guru Maharaj asked me as to why I have a desire to follow a specific type of bhajan, and so there were many verses I quoted, this being the important one. On hearing that, he was very happy. So this is something which is immensely helpful in my personal life, because by remembering this verse, I was able to quote this verse at a time when I needed it the most. So this verse has been personally very helpful for me.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And lastly, is the Lord referred to as Vishnu here because he's all pervading in the rasa dance?
Yeah, Veveshti Vyapnati iti Vishnu. One who is all omnipresent is known as Vishnu. That is the general meaning. So the Vishnu Vyaptau is the verbal root as far as I remember. So this root is used in the context of Vyapan, or to pervade. He is all pervading in the Rasa Lila. Therefore, he is known as Vishnu. That is one meaning, etymological meaning. That is what it is.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I've been up since 2 with the baby, so my brain's not really working, but I wish I could come up with more questions because I'm just enjoying this class so much. I'd like to thank you and all the devotees for your wonderful association. And I'll invite everyone to unmute and give a big thank you to Hari Parsha Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much,
so much,
Prabhuji. Thank you very much,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavad
Krishna.
Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shriman Hari Parsha
Grace
Prabhu
Hari
ki
Parshad
jai.
Prabhu ki jai.
Shri Rupa
Jai
Goswami ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Pranam.
And happy
Thank you,
birthday.
Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Shubha Janmadin.
All right, everyone. Hare Krishna. Dandavad.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Beautiful class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare